Hello and welcome, friends. Let's get into it. I'm Kaylyn, and we're in the last episode of our Parables Retold series. How crazy is that? If you missed the other ones, I'll catch you up just a little bit. So we've been talking about different parables, which are short stories that Jesus would tell in order to teach a lesson or get a point across, and we're learning the lessons that Jesus taught through them. This last one we're going to talk about is my very favorite parable. I saved the best one for last. It's called the Parable of the Lost Son and can be found in Luke 15, verses 11 to 24. So like the other ones, we're going to change this one up a little bit, retell it, and call it the story of the lost daughter, but still learn the same lesson. So this story actually connects with the very first parable we talked about, which was the parable of the lost sheep. At the time, there were people who were super critical of Jesus for spending time with people who were known sinners. And Jesus tells them a couple of stories to show why he's spending time with those people. It starts with the lost sheep, and it ends with today's story. There was once a very rich man with 2 daughters. The younger said to her father,
"Father, I want what is mine, right now."
So the father divided the inheritance between the sisters. It wasn't long before the younger daughter packed up her bags and set off to enjoy her wealth. There, undisciplined and careless with her money, she wasted everything she had. Soon, she realized that she had no money left, not even enough to buy herself food. The daughter tried to get a job to make money, but seeing as she had never worked a day in her whole life, she couldn't find anything other than cleaning toilets at a local business. She worked hard and barely made enough money to buy food. Hungry and exhausted, she came to her senses.
All of my father's employees, including his cleaning ladies, live very well with more than enough money to buy all the food they need. And here I am working and receiving hardly anything. I'd probably be better off working at my father's house as a maid if I'm gonna clean toilets anyway. I guess I'll just have to say to him, "Father, I've sinned against God and I've sinned against you. I don't deserve to be called your daughter. But maybe if you could just take me on as the lowliest maid in your house." That's all I could ask for, really.
So she set off on her long journey home. After a while, the daughter finally made it back home. She stopped at the top of her family's driveway to work up the courage to go any further. While she was still far away, her father saw her. His heart pounding, he ran as fast as he could and hugged his daughter. Pulling away, the daughter begins her prepared speech.
"Father, I've sinned against God and I've sinned against you."
I need to call a caterer. We need to prepare a feast because we're going to have a party. We're going to have a celebration because my daughter is here. She was dead, and now she's alive. She was lost, and now she's found.
So like I said before, this is my favorite parable. Let's talk about it a little bit. In the story, the daughter messed up pretty majorly. At first, she cares so little about others, especially her father, and only thinks about her own wants and desires. She goes to her father and asks him for all of the inheritance that she'll get if he passed away. It's like she can hardly wait for him to die, so she can leave and live a life of luxury without having to work for anything. She wastes all of her money, and she finds herself completely broke. She hits rock bottom, and the only thing she can think of is to go home and ask to be accepted not as a daughter, but as an employee. She plans to grovel and beg for a chance to start at the bottom. She expects to go home and be yelled at, be punished, and be hated. Instead, she returns and finds her father there, ready to welcome her back into the family and love her before she can even get her words of apology out. And that's how God works. Sometimes we are that lost daughter, and we go off and we think we can do everything on our own and that we don't need our Father. Soon we realize that we do, in fact, need God. But usually by that point we feel like we're too broken. We feel like we've messed up too much to be accepted back by God. We feel like we have to fix ourselves before we're worthy enough to come before God and ask for forgiveness. But here's the truth that He's trying to teach us in this story. No matter how broken, how messed up, how unworthy we feel, there is never a time that God will tell us that we're not welcome. There's absolutely never a moment that God will say, "I do not love you, get out of here." He will always be there, just like the Father in that story, running to us, embracing us because we came back home to Him. He's filled with such love for us that He will always celebrate us coming back home. You are so loved and cherished as a daughter of God. He thinks you are worth everything, and He loves you with His whole heart. That's all for today, friends. Go and know that you are loved.